It's my great pleasure to welcome you here at the Climate and Hunger Pitch Slam, innovating to find solutions for the global hunger and also for the climate crisis. Now, what we're going to see here, we're going to see opening remarks, also from Nico Rosberg and from Martin Wimmer from the German federal government, BMZ. We'll have a keynote speech from him and then introduction to our work at the Innovation Accelerator and then the stars of the show today, which are the startups that I believe will have the potential to disrupt global hunger. Now, why is hunger relevant in the course of climate? Hunger accounts for about 1/3 of global man-made greenhouse gases. So, food systems is something that's relevant for climate. Climate is relevant for food systems. So this is why we're here. And we couldn't do this without the support of the GreenTech Festival. So I want to introduce Nico Rosberg. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here and have our starters pitch here. Nico, welcome on stage. Thank you so much.
Bernhard, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you and your program here, of course, as well. Welcome to all of you. I myself am actually a food startup investor as well. So just recently, actually, we invested in some vegan shrimps with monk beans, out of monk beans. There it's less about, of course, combating the issue of hunger. There it's more about really preserving our oceans because of overfishing and also our own health, actually, essentially, because in the shrimps there's a lot of antibiotics and microplastics and everything now. So it's a combination of that. So I'm passionate about the food space. So I really welcome you. I'm looking forward to these pitches. I hope it's a lot of success. I'm sure it's going to be fascinating, and thank you very much what you're doing, because we know it's a huge problem that you are solving, and so it's a pleasure to be together here on stage.
Well, thanks so much again, Nico, and give it up to Nico Rosberg for actually hosting us here, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you very much. Now, we're not wasting time here. It's called Pitch Slam for a reason, because it's going to be like one thing after the other, so stay tuned. We want to hear another applause for the keynote speech. And we could actually not have found a better speaker than Martin Wimmer. Martin, I'll hand it over to you. You will tell us now, why are we talking about climate and hunger?
Well, thank you, Nico. Thank you, Bernhard. The chimneys of the Silicon Valley are smoking and stinking just like the ones in Manchester and Gelsenkirchen did. Digitalization is responsible for more CO2 emissions than air traffic by now. Digital technologies are major drivers of climate change. On the other hand, we need digital innovations if we want to reach the SDGs, fight climate change, and limit its impact on agriculture. Due to rising temperatures, changing rainfall patterns, extreme weather events, diseases, climate change poses enormous challenges to smallholder farmers, and rural areas are not the ones with the best connectivity. In fact, 1/3 of the world population is still offline. That's almost 3 billion people who are not connected to the internet. So the nexus of climate and digital policy, it's called twin transition, and the nexus of climate and social policy, what we call the just transition. This is the magic triangle I am working in. And what does it mean for the work of my ministry in the food sector, which in the 21st century, of course, means agriculture? For example, we can limit climate impacts on agricultural and food systems through digitally enabled, comprehensive risk management. AI-powered early warning systems can help to identify risks at an early stage and react quickly, for example, against pests. But without digital infrastructure, hardware, and skills, smallholder farmers in the global south cannot use digital applications for weather forecasts, or whatever. For a transformation of agricultural and food systems, interoperability of digital systems, a fair regulation, and the strengthening of digital literacy are essential. Without interoperability, no data can be integrated. Without data protection standards, there are concerns about using them. Svenja Schulze, German Federal Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development, therefore launched the Digital Global Network just recently. Partners from politics, economy, civil society, science cooperate intensely. And you all are cordially invited to join us and make the world a better place, one without less hunger. You'll find us online, bmz-digital.global, find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere. The UN World Food Programme Innovations Accelerator is one of BMZ's most important partners. It plays a central role in transforming food systems worldwide. An important pillar of our cooperation is the Agricultural Innovation for Climate Resilience Program. It seeks scalable solutions for farmers to mitigate the impact of the climate crisis on low and middle income countries. Innovations for a world in crisis. We need them desperately. And I'm extremely proud of, thankful for, and full of respect for all the great work by the dedicated and enthusiastic change makers present today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Martin. And like we need to keep on practicing that applause here. Like keep the energy up, you know. Like, and there's still space in front row. Please come on, guys. Front row. There's seats. Come on. It's the best seats. They are not warm. They are cold. You know. It's like, but you know, you're gonna experience a lot of exciting things. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce my colleague Regina Schmidt, who is going to guide you through the rest of the program. So, Regina, over to you.
Okay, perfect. I'm really pleased to be here. And hey, not only looking, come here. There are still spaces. You hear much better if you're close to us. I'm very happy to represent today the World Food Programme. And I'm sure a couple of people will ask, why is the World Food Programme at the GREENTECH Festival? And let me give you some context. The World Food Programme is the largest humanitarian organization, and our goal is to reach zero hunger by 2030. What you see on the top, in 2020, we were awarded with the Nobel Peace Prize. And the committee clearly saw there's a link between conflict and hunger, between peace and hunger, but there are more root causes. And this is why we're here today, and I'm going to explain it. We want to have a world without hunger. And our goal is, or our mandate is to save lives in emergency, but also to change life sustainably. If you think like the war in Ukraine, the earthquake in Turkey or Syria, the cyclone Mocha in Bangladesh, these are the moments where the World Food Programme goes there, provides food assistance and cash assistance. But we also try to sustainably change the life of the people and really bring them out of hunger. We are operating in 120 countries and territories, and last year we have supported 158 million people. We have assisted them. Have a look at the figure. These are the development of the number of undernourished people in the world. In 1990, we had 1 billion food insecure people. 25 years later, we were able to cut it in half to 589. Amazing. It was a very good trend. But the recent years, there's just again growing the numbers. In 21, we had 828 million food insecure people. And the root causes are manifold. I spoke about conflict. They are the long-term impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have the rising costs after the war in Ukraine. But most importantly, and this is why we are here, it's climate. Climate is one of the major root causes of hunger. And it's quite interesting. The climate emergency is a hunger emergency. I'm not sure if you're aware about that. Climate changes causes a lot of food insecurity. Because global heating has caused climate-related shocks like droughts, storms, flooding, and they increase in number and in frequency. And these shocks, they are just destroying lives, crops, and livelihoods, and they destroy food systems. And this is very, very critical. If you look at some of the climate projections, and I think we have seen this morning, where are the projections, how much is the world getting warmer? If the world is getting 2 degrees of Celsius warmer, we are expecting 189 more people which are at the risk of food insecurity. And we have already like a growing trend. So on top of what we have today, 189. If the world is getting 4 degrees of Celsius warmer, we're experiencing 1.8 billion people who are at the risk of food insecurity. It's enormous. So there's a clear link between climate change and hunger. And this is why we are here. Because that's why we want to have a world without hunger. And this is why we really want to do something. It's time to act. Innovation has always been in the DNA of the World Food Programme, but the organization went one step beyond. 8 years ago, they were innovating, they were founding the WFP Innovation Accelerator in Munich, and our mandate is to identify, to source, and to scale innovations, on the one hand to disrupt hunger, but also to reach the other sustainability goals. And this is now our area, our framework on climate. We have 4 areas where we would love to innovate, where we are innovating in order to address the root causes. The first one is anticipation. So what we try to do is to anticipate climate hazards before the disaster hits. It's about early warning system, it's about pre-positioned finance. The second one is restore. It's about regenerative agriculture, so how can you restore the soil and the land? The third one is around protection. It's really around protecting the most vulnerable ones. And the last one, it's about energize. How can we energize schools and communities with sustainable energy? And I'm very glad today we are going to have 4 different startups who are working on the different areas from our portfolio that we will see. So how is it going to work? We have the 4 pictures. Each of them has 3 minutes, short, sharp, tell you about the problem and their solution and what they have achieved so far. And afterwards, we have an expert jury who is going to ask some questions. And they have 5 minutes in total. And now I'm looking at the expert jury, and I'm looking at Patti Jurek. Please come on stage. And also Aneri Pradhan. So we have Patti Jurek. She's the regional lead from Google Accelerator Europe. And then we have Aneri Pradhan. She is the Chief Operation Officer from New Energy Nexus. Please, do you want to introduce yourself? Patti, do you want to start?
Thank you. I'm Patti. I'm from the Google for Startups Accelerator in Europe and Israel. And we are supporting also the World Food Programme during their innovation accelerators with Google Mentors, but we are also running our own acceleration programs. The last one was about climate change startups. And the next one is going to be about startups with focusing on AI-first technologies.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Aneri Pradhan. I work for New Energy Nexus, and New Energy Nexus is the world's largest accelerator for clean energy startups. We accelerated 1,500 companies last year, currently in 12 different countries, mostly in Asia, also in Africa and the United States. And thanks, I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. Okay. Now, I would say, let's get started. So let's see, perhaps we move them a little bit on the left, that the picture has some space. Because now I'm very happy to welcome the first pitcher on stage, which is Nidhi Pant, and she's from S4S Technologies from India. Please, Nidhi, the stage is yours.
Anita Ghayat, a smallholder farmer from Bhavri village in western part of India. The income of farmers like Anita not only depends on the volume of their harvest, but also on the shape, size, and color of their produce. Untimely rains, heat waves, and climate change has led to 25 to 30% of their total harvest to be of lower grade. The lower grade produce gets lower price in the market and leads to farmers like Anita to throw away their produce because it's unviable to them before they take it to the market. India loses food worth $14 billion and there are 126 million farmers in poverty. At S4S, we work at the intersection of gender, agriculture, and energy access. S4S transforms smallholder women farmers to become micro-entrepreneurs by enabling them to convert their low-grade produce to food ingredients using solar power technology. We provide our patented solar-powered food processing solutions to smallholder farmers. We also provide them affordable financing to buy the solution, and at the end, we provide them with market linkage. We are currently working with 100,000 farmers in 300 villages in India and have provided them with 12 million of market access. We aggregate the processed produce made by women entrepreneurs, do quality control at a central facility, make it fit for the use of the customer, and supply it to large corporates like Nestle, Unilever, Marico, Indian Railways, and 1,400 institutional customers. We have helped 2,000 women entrepreneurs come out of poverty by generating $2.4 million of additional income for them. In this process, we save 60,000 tons of food from getting wasted and 300,000 tons of CO2 from entering the environment. We are transforming the lives of 100,000 women entrepreneurs. And for that, we are raising $50 million in affordable financing in the form of a revolving fund for the micro-entrepreneurs. We also need 500,000 tons of food in terms of market access for the women entrepreneurs to have an assured additional income. And we are looking at technical assistance to make these women entrepreneurs more climate resilient. And in this process, we invite you to join us in our journey to defend planet, to defeat poverty and demand equity. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Let's just go to the... No, that was marvelous. And I think S4S is really a nice example because what they do, I mean, they empower women to convert cosmetically damaged agri-produce to food ingredients. So it's a combination of managing food waste, but on the same time empowering women. So I think that's really marvelous with the two angles. Now, the expert jury. Aneri, which question do you have to Nidhi?
Hi, Nidhi. Thank you. Wonderful presentation. I wanted to know, because I learned that you also provide solar dryers and assets to these women micro-entrepreneurs. I was just curious about the financial model. Like, what do you charge for them to use a solar dryer? If they can't make their repayments, do you repossess the solar dryers? Like, how does that work?
Yes, so we started as a technology company by selling these equipments to the farmers, but we realized that most of them would be large-holder farmers. For it to be viable for small-holder farmers, there needs to be an affordable financing solution. The non-banking financial institutes in India charge them 23 to 30%. So the net income, what they had in their hands was very less. And in this process, we now have partnered with, because we provide market linkage, because there is a visibility of cash flow that would come to these women. The nationalized banks like State Bank of India, ICICI Bank have started lending to these women entrepreneurs who have no historical data. They don't even have a bank account. They don't have a credit history at 4.5%. So this is the financial solution that we provide. In the process, what happens is that if the woman is not processing, if she is unable to repay the loan, we would take the machine and give it to another women entrepreneur in the same village. So it gets transformed to someone in the same community.
Thank you, Nidhi. I have also a question because you're using solar energy as a main primary source. And at the moment, you're only using it or mostly using it for the drying process. But I do see a lot of opportunities to go beyond drying process using the solar energy. Do you think about the next steps and where you could use that?
Absolutely. I think that is where we first started with solar drying, which is the first level of food preservation that happens either through cooling or dehydration solution. And now we are moving more towards more value addition. So we also provide them solar-powered grain millers, biomass-based milk evaporators, grinding solution, anything which is can do more value addition at the farm gate. So we have now expanded to different categories like pulses, grains, meat, tea, coffee, spices, and we provide different technology solutions for that.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Nidhi. Okay, and I'm very glad to welcome the next pitcher on stage. It's Theresa Fehle. She's from ignitia. Theresa, the stage is yours. Nur den grünen.
This is George, a rice farmer from Nigeria who invested everything he had into farming. He got a big loan, he sold his house, he bought the best seeds, but regardless, he wasn't able to harvest a single grain because he didn't have access to reliable weather information and was exposed to unpredictable weather conditions. In floods like the ones in 2022 in Nigeria pose a significant threat to not only local but global food security. Our entire supply chain is very weather dependent, so we wouldn't want weather to be an unpredictable risk, right? But why is weather so unpredictable in the tropics? The conventional weather models, like the ones that we all access on our phones, are actually not designed for tropical areas. They only have an average accuracy of about 39% there, meaning that a farmer, if he could even access a weather forecast, would probably still be better off just tossing a coin. Now, let me introduce you to Ignitia, the pioneer in tropical weather forecasting. Ignitia started fixing poor weather forecasts in the tropics and making them accessible to smallholder farmers like George. The forecasts that we produce are twice as accurate as those global models that we have on our phones, and we then take those very complex science solutions to make them into actionable solutions for farmers and our partners along the agri-supply chain. Our tools help farmers make more informed decisions and navigate the complexities of farming, and this can be just 2 simple lines of text sent directly to the farmers' phones. Also goes beyond weather forecasting by providing agricultural advice or climate risk solutions that also enable carbon sequestration, precision agriculture, and disaster risk reduction in the tropics. Now, Ignitia has already impacted 2.7 million farmers across West Africa, East Africa, and Brazil through our collaborations with the major telco providers in the regions, as well as our partners in the food system that we co-design our solutions with. And now that farmers like George actually have the knowledge and tools to make more informed decisions about their farming, we see them actually change their practices, leading to improved crop qualities and yield, leading to increased incomes and building climate resilience. At Ignitia, we are currently scaling up on number of farmers, geographical coverage, and conducting experiments on extreme weather alerts, leveraging AI for crop modeling, and building out an e-commerce. We want you to test and fund those experiments with us, and in the future, we will be raising about $8 million to establish Ignitia as a climate technology beyond just weather forecasting. And together we can revolutionize agriculture, empower farmers, and make a lasting impact in the face of climate uncertainty. Thank you.
No, perfect. Thank you very much, Theresa. Ignitia is an AI-powered weather forecast tool for the tropics. And I'm always very impressed when I see the accuracy of the tool in comparison to classical methods. But I think what I really appreciate with the project, and that's something which is very important, we all love AI, we all love blockchain. But how do we bring these technologies to the smallholder farmers who are not the people sitting in this room? So, and this is, I think the team has spent quite some time to think about which media channel are we using, phone, WhatsApp, SMS, how many words. And finally, they came to the point it's about an SMS, maximum 7 words, and the farmers are reading it on a regular basis. And they were able to increase the income of farmers of more than 20%, which is amazing. So that's, I really appreciate it. Enough from my side, Patty. Any question?
I love the solution. I would love to hear a little bit more on like what are the typical steps taken from the farmers once they get the SMS.
Yeah, so farming activities that we usually target for behavior change is around crop and farm management or post-harvesting and post-harvesting activities. So that can be anything from like land preparation, when to exactly plant the seeds, to consider the soil moisture, when to apply fertilizer. So for example, you shouldn't apply fertilizer on a windy day or when you're expecting rains in the next couple of weeks. And then on harvesting, you shouldn't harvest before or directly after rain. So that is more on the quality and yield improvement sides, the steps that they could take. But then on the more operational farm management perspective, we also help them figure out when to hire labor or the quantities of inputs to buy. So that reflects in the cost savings eventually.
Thank you.
Yeah, agree. Great solution. I was curious on how you reached illiterate farmers with the SMS text-based solution. How does that work exactly?
Doesn't really make sense on first sight, right? But I'm really glad that you asked this question because we spent a lot of time and work figuring that out. So before we launched this SMS-based messaging in West Africa, we actually went through over 120 rounds of trials and experiments, considering communication-based parameters like local languages, symbols, intuition, cultural context, voice versus text. And the results was what Regina already mentioned, a keyword-based system where we have 7 keywords like rain or dry or tomorrow. And farmers are actually able, by contextualizing the weather forecasts that they receive and validating it against the actual weather, to learn those keywords and then later be able to interpret them by themselves. Often they also do have literate household members who are able to help them, but our project evaluations usually show that the recipient of the message is also the one who interprets it, and our comprehension rates lie consistently over 90%. So that was a successful trial. Thank you.
No, perfect. Thank you very much, Theresa. Well done. And I'm very glad to welcome the next pitcher on stage. And it's Amit Sharma, and he's from the project TAKACHAR. Amit, the stage is yours.
Hi. Hello. Yeah. Hi. From hundreds of years, like farmer doing growing crops, harvesting. Enough to these harvesting, they also do one thing that is called crop burning. You see this picture? Oops. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, so you see this picture, Ramesh from North India. He is burning his paddy straw after paddy season. So why is burning this? Is there any solution who's do this? The major reason is that there is a very short time period and these biomass are quite loose and bulky in nature. So it takes a lot of money and time to transfer it from field to the solution, field to the big plants and all. Now imagine when such kind of millions farmers do same thing, then how it will impact our soil, our environment, and also the health issues of urban centers like Berlin. what happens if neighborhood such thing happens. So worldwide, around $120 billion of crop residue getting burned every year. And although these biomass can play like pivotal raw material for different industries like biofuel, fertilizers, activated carbon, but unfortunately we have not harnessed yet. So here comes TAKACHAR, who actually convert these loose and bulky biomass in highly carbon-rich material called biochar, which have a multiple uses for different industries. Our solution is a machine called Takavator, which actually convert these biomass in biochar at the point where exactly the waste getting generated. So it helps all kind of farmers to adopt it and convert those biomass into value-rich material. In one of such trial, with our partner company called Safi Organics, we have found that our fertilizer can increase the crop yield up to 27% and the smallholder farmer rural like household income by 50%. We have till now impacted 10,000 farmers and generated $2 million like US, $2 million US to rural economy. Also ensuring that how it can be a clean process by carbon sequestration and like processing this, recycling this whole process. We have a lot of farmers who want to adopt our technology, but we don't have enough money to provide them. So that's why we are looking for $2 million funding for R&D purpose and scaling purpose. Our target is to add 100,000 more such farmers by 2025 and ensuring 1 gigaton of mitigation of CO2 equivalent and just avoid the 2 gigaton every year. And this is our cash for trash mission, under which we are also looking the partner who can like contribute by purchasing the credits and contribute to the rural economy, which is actually not much cracked on. Thank you.
No, the other one. Thank you very much, Amit. Now, I think this is really a great solution because it turns agricultural waste in bioproducts which farmers can sell. And just that you understand the problem, a smallholder farmer, he is harvesting, and at the end of the harvest, there's a lot of waste. And then he has exactly a window of 1 or 2 weeks where he needs to get rid of the waste. It's bulky, it's wet, it's expensive to carry. So he needs a solution. What is he doing? He just burns it. He has 1 or 2 weeks. So what is he doing? He burns it. And now with this mobile solution, on the one hand, we are reducing emissions, but on the other hand, we are also creating income opportunities for the farmers. So it's really a great solution which has an environmental aspect, but it also has an economic aspect for the farmers. Aneri, any question from your side?
Yeah, thank you, Amit. And I'm happy to say TAKACHAR is also in Energy Nexus's portfolio.
Thank you.
Happy to see you here. So I was wondering if you could explain how the solution differs in working for a smallholder farmer versus a commercial farm, and would you deploy more units in a commercial farm? Like, how would that work?
Yeah. So, like, agriculture is a very context-based problem. So, it varies by different contexts. For example, I'm a rice farmer. So, what exactly kind of residue I produce? So, I'm a rice mill. Then, what exactly the residue is there? So, for a smallhold farmer, for example, a farmer of rice mill, we tackle with the rice straw balers, and we tackle with the whatever the branch coming out of rice. While if you talk about a bigger mills like a coconut scenario, coconut value chain, you see that whatever the coconut cell comes out, that cannot be converted. So we directly target with the coconut mills, and they follow our technology and getting converted the activated carbon from us. So this way, when context change, then we have to strategize in different way.
Perfect, Patty.
Yes, thanks, Amit. I'm aware that you're also moving towards commercial scale units now.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, how does it present challenges to TAKACHAR in terms of competition? Because it's kind of opening up to a broader market.
Yeah. So the major problem in this sector is that the affordability. So in affordability, actually, we are still not figured it out how we can make it affordable to the smallholder farmer. Although our technology is 100 times cheaper than the similar technology like large intensive and capital intensive plants, but we have looking for the right partner who can finance our equipment to our customers. So we are still in that phase. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Amit. You can just give it to. And I'm very happy to welcome now the next pitcher on stage. It's Huilin Chu, and she's from the project, from the venture Etherisc. Huilin, the stage is yours. Yes, just.
Thanks very much, Regina. So hi, everyone. I am Huilin from Etherisc. I've been working more than 10 years now in inclusive insurance. And I must say, it's only really hit me recently how hard a farmer's life actually is. Most farmers in the world are smallholders. They have small farms, and they earn under $2 a day. So what this means is when a disaster hits, bad rains, droughts, for example, it's really devastating, as you've heard, for the farmer. Now, insurance has sort of appeared as a key solution here, and that's why Etherisc was born. We set out to make insurance for smallholder farmers faster, cheaper, and more transparent. And we're very proud of what we've achieved in the sense that we've cut down the time it takes to pay claims from 3 to 6 months to under 5 days, and we're onboarding 80,000 farmers for this year. But it's not enough. And why is that? Insurance is still really expensive, and it's highly subsidized, and subsidization is really not a long-term solution. The way we see it, the real problem is that smallholder farmers simply do not earn enough, right? And to afford a living wage, let alone to buy insurance. So the question is, how do we help farmers earn more and be more in control of their own finances? Now, in 2021, corporates paid about $2 billion in voluntary carbon credits. How can we help farmers be a part of this? So stay with me here. Now, a typical smallholder farmer in Kenya could earn about $45 a month, right? And if this farmer makes biochar or plants a certain kind of tree, like an agroforestry, they could earn from carbon credits maybe another $15 a month. So that makes $60, and out of this, you can take out $1 each month to pay for insurance, and what you get is this really beautiful circle where the farmer increases their income, they protect their farms, they protect their families, and they adopt climate-smart agriculture. Where does Etherisc come into the picture? Well, we built the blockchain platform that automates and makes these transactions possible in the background. So for the farmer, as far as I'm concerned, I receive my carbon credit revenue in my mobile wallet. A small part of that goes to insurance. When satellite data shows too much or too little rain, I receive the insurance claim back in my wallet. And we make that possible in the background. And because our platform is blockchain-based, the transactions are tracked real-time, they're transparent, and stakeholders can view and audit them. And now think about it, right? In the world, we have 270 million smallholder farmers at least. At the same time, the carbon market's going to grow to 40 billion in 2030. How can we bring those two together? So Etherisc has the partnerships with carbon farming programs on the ground. We've got the technology that's proven. We've got the team who can do this. And what we would like is your support in terms of project funding, as well as your contribution as a carbon credit buyer. So come and talk to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Huilin. I think some of you will ask, but why are we working with an insurance company? And I would like to come back on the climate framework I was speaking before. There was one area which was protection. Many of us are living in countries where the governments have strong safety nets. When there's a disaster, the government supports. Many developing countries don't have that. And this is the reason why climate risk insurance, if there's a disaster, it's a way to protect the smallholder farmers. And that's why we are leveraging new technologies like blockchain to become faster, cheaper, and more transparent. So, Patti, I think the tour is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Hui, for presenting. And one of the things you highlighted is obviously the fastness of the response on your end, but also the partnerships. So I was really wondering what could be, like, which other partnerships could be super useful for you to continue to scale and grow your operations?
So for us, we see ourselves as a platform that brings together the different partners and coordinates the transactions between the different parties. So generally, we work with three kinds of partners. One is the organizations that work directly with the farmers on the ground, so they understand their needs, how to structure the product. And then secondly, you have the insurance risk modeling people, who are the ones who do the actual climate modeling and so on. And then thirdly, you have sort of the carbon farming, rather, sorry, not carbon farming, but the people who do the measurement, verification, reporting, the carbon standards. So these are the sort of the three main categories of partners we work with. But in our experience, what we find is most important for scalability is that all the partners are aligned in terms of their openness to technology and their willingness to really experiment and find the best way of doing things. So in this regard, we've been really lucky under the WFP Innovation Accelerator, where we recently signed a partnership with ARC Limited, which is a regional reinsurer with presence in over 35 countries. And we're really excited to see how we can really scale in the region.
That's very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the innovative way of insuring people through the carbon markets. I was wondering, from a claim perspective, how do you assess a climate-related risk versus a weather-related risk?
I mean, to me, I see these both concepts as very similar. I mean, a lot of climate risks are weather-related risks, but I think for practical purposes, it's useful. I mean, I'm not a climate scientist, but I think for practical purposes, it's useful to see them as two separate concepts. So, I mean, with weather risks, which is what we try to insure against, it's sort of more immediate, direct kind of effects, you know, like a drought, a flood, a typhoon, and so on. And you can really get this from satellite data. Whereas with climate risks, we see sort of more kind of bigger picture things like soil degradation and so on. And I mean, I guess what we like about a solution is that it kind of addresses both. You know, it insures against some of the more immediate weather risks while helping farmers to mitigate the sort of broader picture climate risk as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Hui Lin.
Thank
Just
you.
give it to Gina. Yeah, perfect. This was our slam pitch. So you've seen 4 different companies from our portfolio, and you see how the link between hunger and climate is really there. I mean, there's a need for innovation. We are always looking forward to improve ourselves. So you have the opportunity to give us feedback. Take your smartphone, scan the QR code, and feel free to give us feedback how you experienced this session. And a part of that, if you're more interested on the topic, on 3:30 at the main stage, there will be the head of the Innovation Accelerator, Bernhard Kovac. He will be there for a session which is called Feeding the World with Food Tech Safer. So I'm inviting you to be there. If you are interested, we are permanently looking for new startups, for partners, for founders, for donors. There are many people from us, perhaps just the ones from the World Program, raise the hand. So talk to us. I think there's Gina, there's Niklas, there's Jonas here. So feel free to come to us and talk to us. This was the session with us. It was a pleasure to have you here, and yeah, it was a great opportunity to also to learn about, to educate the close link between climate and hunger. It's time to act. Thanks a lot.